Hello and welcome to the Sport Geeks episode 7, where debate and sports meet. We have a good show planned for you tonight, so thank you for tuning in. Stick around. And Andy, why don't you tell our viewers what tonight's topic is?
Tonight's topic is, due to Mike Babcock snubbing the Sabres, who should be the next option as the coach for the Sabres? Suggested by Sean Richardson. I don't think it was on YouTube, but he did it in person regardless. If you have a suggestion that you want us to talk about next week, please tell us in the comments below. You can do it now if you don't really plan on watching all this video, because suggestions will make you want to watch next week, unlike this week if you were to leave. Like the video if you like it, and enjoy. Dylan, you go out first.
Okay, so in the wake of Babcock choosing Toronto, I think the Sabres should go with Luke Richardson as their head coach. He's a name that's come up in plenty of rumors. Basically, anybody who's written an article about the next coach of the Sabres has had Luke Richardson's name in there somewhere. If you don't know who he is, he's currently the coach of the Binghamton Senators, the Ottawa Senators AHL affiliate. And I think he's a good choice. He has an existing relationship with Tim Murray, who formerly worked in the Senators organization. He was the general manager of the Binghamton Senators. So you don't have to worry about the discord between a GM and a coach, which I feel was present, fairly apparently present between Nolan and Murray during Nolan's tenure. And I think that's a big thing. Richardson has made the playoffs with the Senators. He's worked with some good young players that we've seen come up for Ottawa. And I think he could be a good choice for Buffalo.
I'm going to take a different approach. I'm not going to trash Richardson yet. Dan Bylsma. Dan Bylsma is my guy. I believe he is the best candidate right now, currently left over. I'm surprised he didn't get a job last year, but I heard that he wasn't interested in the opportunities that had arisen in Florida and I believe Carolina and places like that. He is the biggest name, and you know what? He doesn't miss the playoffs. The guy just doesn't miss the playoffs. So we, as the Buffalo Sabres, can't make the playoffs. It only makes sense to get a guy that just doesn't miss the playoffs as our coach. He's worked with great players like Crosby and Malkin, Letang, in the instance that you're thinking, oh, Ristolainen's a good offensive defenseman. This guy's worked with great players. And you're going to, this guy can teach these players how to perform like the all-stars that he worked with in Pittsburgh. And I feel that is enough regarding player development that you need. That should be enough.
You see, I can't disagree with Dan Bylsma's record as a coach. He's been successful in Pittsburgh, but you have to look at. So I sometimes wonder how much of that is a product of having Sidney Crosby, Evgeny Malkin, Marc-Andre Fleury, and Chris Letang, four very good players at their positions. The first two being elite, top 5 in the entire league players on that team. And I don't mean that to be too big of a knock against Bylsma. He is a good coach because there have been times where he's had to coach without those guys and their injury problems, but it certainly helps when you have two of the best players in the world on your side. And I'm advocating for somebody with basically the opposite. He has no proven track record as an NHL coach, but that's not necessarily a bad thing. You look at, I was thinking as a comparable, John Cooper of the Tampa Bay Lightning. He came up from the AHL. He actually coached alongside Richardson in the AHL All-Star game a couple of years ago. Comes up with Tampa Bay Lightning, a very good young roster, and as you can see if you've been following the NHL playoffs this year, they've been very successful, especially the young talent with Tyler Johnson, with Nikita Kucherov, the guys who were somewhat less touted. And I think that's something that could work in Richardson's favor in looking for a job.
Looking for a job, maybe, but I think that John Cooper comparison only goes so far in that Cooper also won a championship at the American Hockey League level. Richardson has not won an AHL championship. I don't even think he's been in the finals, let alone won a championship. And you have a guy here like Bylsma with a ton of experience as a winner. And I believe that by having this guy, you don't, he knows how to get there. He knows how to get there. And regarding the fact that, oh, he had elite players and that's part of it, we know now after the Mike Johnston, I think it's Mike Johnston, right? I think that's the guy that they've had. The bottom two lines have always been terrible. Pittsburgh's problem, I don't want to make this about Pittsburgh, but Pittsburgh's always had a problem with depth. And that's something the Sabres will not have. The Sabres will have a complete team with elite players. How is that? That's better than Pittsburgh. I'm not going to, the elite players aren't as good. Don't get me wrong. But the team from top to bottom projects better than Pittsburgh ever did.
I think that's a tough sell. I mean, I believe in the Sabres prospects. I believe we'll have a ton of depth, but projecting better than Pittsburgh ever did, I would agree with more balanced from top to bottom. Jack Eichel, who we presume will be presumably one of the top players in the league at some point, but we should have a third and fourth line unlike Pittsburgh, whereas they had those elite guys. I think Richardson, he's been around. He played 21 years in the league. He was the 7th overall pick. He played a defenseman. And so he has experience playing. He has experience coaching. And there comes a time when you look at the candidates. You can look at people who are getting second chances. Alain Vigneault, he was a great hire for the New York Rangers. Vancouver Canucks hiring John Tortorella, not so much. So it goes both ways when you're hiring somebody who is just let go from their previous job. And I think you have to look at it like there was once a time when this AHL coach, Mike Babcock, got a job for the Anaheim Ducks, and who knew who he was at the time? So everybody's got to start somewhere. And I don't think the experience factor is necessarily a absolute requirement for success at the head coaching position.
All the examples of the AHL coaches that got the promotions won. That's the only problem I have. Like, Richardson hasn't won. He hasn't earned, in my opinion, he hasn't earned a promotion. Bylsma got fired for making the playoffs and not winning in the playoffs. Richardson isn't winning in the playoffs at a lower level. So it comes down to a guy with NHL coaching experience, a guy with AHL coaching experience. There are coaches, yes, that come up from the AHL and do very well, but those guys also do not have have the championships. You need the championships. If you don't win championships, you shouldn't get the promotion. You're not having a lot of success. In my opinion, Richardson hasn't had enough success to even get the promotion, where Bylsma has had success, and he did have NHL experience, and I'm pretty certain he was on the 2003 Ducks team that went to the Cup Finals. In 7 to the Devils, they lost, and I believe, he's been there. He's been there also, and he's won in the playoffs. And I'm going to end the show real fast because we have 30 seconds before we go over 10 minutes again. So, thank you for watching the Sport Geeks episode 7 about Mike Babcock and how he snubbed us and who the next option is. Please like and suggest future topics below. See ya.
See y'all next week.